Hello! Happy Monday.
Hi.
Welcome to Adobe Live. My name is Ellie. I am here with Pratik Parulekar. We are going to be doing some retouching today. Pratik is a photographer, retoucher, and has some really amazing work. So we're going to be working on a lot of different photos today.
Yeah.
Showing your process, and it's going to be really fun. Say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from, if you are an Adobe Live regular, if this is your first time. We would love to hear from you, and where you're from. We're in San Francisco, and you're actually from San Francisco, living here right now.
Yes.
So you just came across town?
Came across town.
Yeah.
Just a 10-minute drive.
Just a 10-minute drive. So that was easy. So let us know where you guys are watching from, and we have a full schedule today. We can pull it up and take a look at everything that is in just a minute. We'll take a look at that. In about 30 minutes, we're going to have our chat and win. So we have a new prize today. We are going to be giving away a $30 gift card to moo.com, where you can print business cards. I think you can also do stickers. I think you can do like postcards too, all sorts of things. So that's a really great prize. Their cards are really high quality. I use them myself, so.
Me too.
Yeah, they're really awesome, and they have so many different things that you can do. You can do like cool golds embossing and like shiny embossing. Yeah. So make sure you stick around for that. It's gonna be great. And then also, here we go, our schedule for today. So earlier was the creative challenge with Jesus, and it's a special 1-week challenge. If you missed it, you can watch the replay of that and make sure you submit. Right now, we're live until 11:30 when there will be the XD Daily Creative Challenge, and then at noon will be an XD stream with Osama, and that's going to be awesome. So you make sure you stick around all day today. And then make sure that you tune in next week as well, because we'll be streaming live from Max with keynotes and some really cool Photoshop updates that you're going to want to stick around and see and learn about from professionals. So make sure that you tune in next week as well. And then our challenge for today is to design a modern album cover or a poster.
Mm-hmm.
Using shapes and text and imagery, and using Adobe Color to create a new color palette. So you'll want to work on that during the stream. You can submit. Right above the chat is a little challenge tab, so you can go over there, right here, and you'll get all the information here. You can submit to the challenge, and then Pratik will be going through those a little bit later and giving some feedback, which will be really fun.
Excited for that too.
Yeah, so make sure you submit. We want to see your work and want to see what you guys are doing. So,
yes.
Okay. Well, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and say a little bit about your work? I'm going to pull up your Behance right here so you can see.
Hello everyone. My name is Pratik, and I'm a graduate student. I'm doing my master's in photography from the Academy of Art University here in San Francisco. Originally, I'm from Mumbai, India. I came here 3 years ago, and I'm learning a lot here, working with the best of the people from the industry, and I'm about to graduate soon. So right now, I'm in my process of building a portfolio so that I kind of get more opportunities after I graduate. Basically, I'm building a portfolio which covers like all the possible categories which come under still life. So I have a bit of variation in my portfolio. Yeah.
Cool.
And enjoying my time here in the Bay Area so far.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been good 3 years, and looking forward to more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you have beautiful work. I'm really excited to see your process.
Yeah. Today we are gonna cover a few of my previous works. I'm gonna tell you guys how I did it. What's my way of working? Might be different, but works for me.
Yeah.
So I stick to it.
Yeah.
And so today we'll see a couple of projects which are already there on my portfolio. I'm gonna show you how I did it, and on the next day, which is tomorrow, I'm gonna do more of that. And then at the end of it, I did create a special project just for this event.
So
I
fun.
created 2 new images.
Okay.
And I'm gonna retouch those tomorrow and hopefully post it live on my Behance and my website as well.
Cool.
So-
Yeah, so you definitely want to tune in tomorrow as well. You can see work that is not on his website at the moment, but he'll show how he finishes it up, how he uploads it, how he gets it out there.
Yeah.
So,
Getting your work out is equally important as creating it.
Yes, yeah. If nobody ever sees it, then,
Then
what's the
just
point?
stays in the hard disk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, cool. Thank you guys for joining. Make sure that you are active in the chat, that you ask questions. Let us know if there's things you want us to cover. And do you want to jump on in?
Yes.
Cool.
We'll start with cosmetics
Okay.
first.
So this is a portfolio piece that you worked on, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. One of my recent works. So
Yeah.
normally what I do is I shoot a lot of plates.
Mm-hmm.
Plates is an older term. People who do film might understand
Yeah.
that better. So I normally work on plates. I shoot everything separately.
Okay.
And then I like to have in different plates, so I have like a more efficient way of working on it.
And then you
Like
composite it
like
together.
a plate for the product, like a plate for the shadow,
Okay.
and then I kind of have it all together.
Okay. So when you're shooting, do you have already an idea of what the finished product is going to look like?
Yes.
Right? Because
So-
you have to shoot all those shots individually.
Yes. So basically, what I do is I start with a sketch.
Okay.
I play around with the product for a while. I start with a sketch, and I kind of have my composition like ready before I even pull out my camera.
Yeah.
So I kind of know what I'm doing, and that's how it all starts. And then I kind of get it all together in Photoshop,
Okay.
and that's where everything comes to life.
Yeah. Cool.
So what I did here was like we loaded images into stacks.
Okay.
So these are like laid on top of each other, and I have the naming conventions here,
Okay.
so I know which one.
Which one's which?
Yeah. And so normally what I do is I pen path the product out
Okay.
initially. So turn all these layers off. We're gonna start with this layer.
So right now you're just going to cut it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So normally what people do is they sometimes like to select loosely using a magic wand tool,
Yeah.
a lasso tool. I mean, I think pen tool is the most precise way to do it
Right.
if you spend a bit of time on it.
Okay. And you're not cutting out the shadow because you have a different shot with the
I
shadow.
have a different plate for the shadow.
Okay.
So normally what I like to do is I like to have my shadows harsh.
Uh-huh.
So what happens when you have a harsh shadow is the shadow gives you shapes, and what shape does is shape's an element of design, right?
Right, yeah.
So that you need to balance that out. So I like my products to be soft, shot with soft light.
Okay.
But then what I like is I like to have that extra element of shadows,
Okay.
and that kind of
Because if you shot them with a hard light to get a hard
Yeah,
shadow, then
the
you would
product-
have a different
yeah.
look on the product.
Yes.
Okay.
which I'm not really a fan of.
Yeah.
So
That's so interesting. So
Yeah.
you use a softbox when you're shooting, or what are you shooting with?
I try to avoid the softbox because it spills light too much sometimes. So I normally use a reflector with a
Got
grid,
it. Uh-huh.
and for the shadow plate, we just get rid of the diffusion, so it gives us
Okay.
a raw, harsher shadow.
Okay. Cool. Someone was asking, I don't see the question anymore, but someone was asking about like why you would bring all the photos in stacked like that. Do you want to explain that a little bit more?
So what I do is I shoot tethered to capture one, and I have the crop adjustment on,
Yeah.
and I process those files as 8-bit TIFFs.
Okay.
And when you process those out, it basically lays on top of each other if
Yeah.
you get it in stacks. So you don't have to manually arrange by using scales or like having less opacity.
Okay.
It just lays on top of each other seamlessly.
Cool, thank you. Ludoval says, I love using the pen tool to cut things out. It's my go-to selection tool now.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a go-to for every person.
Yeah. Yeah.
People, I don't know why people are pretty scared of pen tool, but it's easy. It just takes a bit of time, but it's a good tool, I think.
It is a good tool. Yeah, I think that's the beauty of Photoshop too, right? There's so many ways to do the same thing, and some things work better for certain photos, and some things work better for certain people, and it's really cool. There's so much variety.
Yeah, I mean, there are different ways. Like you can also select photos using the color range tool, especially if you're shooting against neutral background. It makes it easier to select stuff.
Yeah.
There are like
there's so many
tons of ways to get a single thing done in Photoshop.
It's so true. Alex says, love me some hard light. Me too. I love beautiful shadows, like sharp shadows. Yeah. Okay, so you're just going through and cutting out each one. Yeah. And so you shot all like one product, right? And then you're going to be changing some of the colors.
Yes.
Too?
Yes.
To make it look like different products.
So this was also kind of a challenge that what can we do with just one product? Right?
Yeah, because in the finished image it looks like you had
it
multiple.
Looks like multiple. The challenge is to make it look like we had several of them.
Yeah, okay. I love this. This is great. Marissa says, love in the red color. That red lipstick color.
So this is the shadow plate.
Yes.
You can see how different the
product looks very different.
Yep.
And the shadow too. The product is more washed out.
Yeah.
And then the shadow is sharper.
So we just kind of loosely.
Nora's asking if this is a lipstick, and it is, right? It's a lip.
It's kind of it's a lip gloss.
A lip gloss, yeah. And you mentioned that you are working to like fill your portfolio with lots of different kinds of products.
Yeah, like sneakers, cosmetics,
jewelry. You have some jewelry,
watches.
Yeah, I think that's really important to have variety. Do you have one kind of thing in particular that you prefer to shoot?
I love cosmetics. Yeah. Basically, I love anything which has a lot of color.
Yeah.
And a lot of graphics.
That's fun. Yeah, and Ludoval says NARS is amazing. Yeah. And it is.
What we do now is we start cleaning things up.
Okay.
Like just clean some of the spots here.
Those tiny little dust specks.
Yep.
Those crazy things that your lens picks up that you can't even really see with your eyes.
Exactly. And when it's product, it needs to look as clean as possible.
Yeah. You're using the blemish?
Yes, spot healing tool.
Okay.
Yes.
Go through and get all those little specks.
Yeah.
So when you're shooting for your portfolio,
Mm-hmm.
are you also looking for, like when you so say you're shooting a portfolio piece for your portfolio, but it's
Yeah.
of a NARS product. Do you
Yeah.
kind of look at their brand to see their style too,
Yes,
so that you can kind of incorporate
yeah,
that?
that certainly helps.
Yeah.
If you're looking forward to pitch those guys,
Yeah.
you can actually do something which is really similar to the brand identity, so that they connect with it more.
Yeah.
But then you incorporate your style in it, which makes that exclusive, right?
Yeah, it makes it unique to you.
But yeah, works for both of them.
Yeah.
So that's a good combination.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yes, some people are commenting about the noise. Well, we have a little construction going on. It's not supposed to be going on. So, our apologies, but hopefully it'll stop soon. Casper the Friendly Ghost. Yeah, it is. It's right around Halloween. Halloween's in a couple days, so maybe it is. I don't know. Those ghosts are getting noisy. Casper every time, says Stone. Cool. Yeah, I think that's important. Like, if you're just doing it for fun for yourself, then however you want.
Then
but if you're wanting
exactly
those brands to notice you,
Yeah.
I think that you can show that you can do good work for them
Totally.
by taking account their brand, their style,
yeah.
what would work well with the assets they already have. Do you prefer shooting or retouching? Do you have a preference?
Well, right now both.
Yeah.
But I might prefer shooting for later.
Yeah.
Right now when I'm in the school, so basically you have to do everything.
Yes.
And it's better to do everything and have some knowledge. So if you're working with a
that's true.
retoucher in the future, you better know some things.
Yeah, you want to be able to communicate what you need to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So certainly helps.
Yeah. And then you have the ability to do it yourself if you need to.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're working commercially, there's all sort of things involved.
Yeah.
I mean, there should be enough budget for retouching. If
Yes.
there's not, then you're going to be the one doing it. So
Yeah. Absolutely. And you said that you're self-taught with Photoshop originally, right? You've just taken some classes now, but originally you were self-taught.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, Marissa's asking if these are just personal projects to build a portfolio, and what you're working on today is personal projects, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So these are projects that you are putting in your portfolio specifically
more like portfolio stuff.
to get work. Yeah.
To get work.
Yeah. And I think we were talking about that a little bit before this stream, like how important that is to put the kind of work in your portfolio that you want to be doing in the future. And like, you know, narrowing it down to like the kinds of, because you might do things in school that are not really necessarily what you want to be doing for practice or whatever, but.
So right now we have the shadow layer and the product layer.
Beautiful.
Right.
Haley was asking why you're using the spot healing tool on a blank layer and then merging down to the image layer. How does it touch the image layer?
So what we do is when we have a blank layer, what we do here is when we are using the spot healing tool, we go to the sample all layers. So it samples the layer below it.
Okay.
So if at all you want to go back and you just can't go back too far, so that's when you just delete that layer.
Yes.
Because it doesn't affect
it's
the original layer.
non-destructive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you were doing it directly on the layer, then you'd have to like undo if you wanted to go back.
And then there's too much of it.
Yeah.
And then you lose the flexibility.
Yeah.
To work
or
on.
later if you wanted to change it completely.
Yeah.
Nora's asking about plates that you were talking about earlier. Can you explain a little bit more about the process? So you basically shoot different images for each thing that you're like different for the product, different for the shadow. Do you want to explain that a little bit more?
So what I do is, as I mentioned before, I like my shadows hard. So basically the camera stays in the same place, the lighting stays in the same place, and basically what I do is just for the hard shadows, I just get rid of the diffusion.
Yeah.
So that gives me a hard shadow.
Yeah.
And basically what I want is just the shape of the shadow.
Okay.
And the product is lit in a soft way. The shadows are harsh, and that gives me an external element to play with. And basically that's just it.
Okay. Do you use the same exposure? Like you leave all your camera settings the same?
The same.
Everything's the same?
Nothing changes except I just get rid of the diffusion.
Okay.
Front of the light.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Michelle says you shoot one for the object and one more without the diffusion for the shadows. Yeah, I think there's a lot of like ways that compositing helps with product photography. Yeah. Like I don't know if you've ever shot anything with like a reflective label, but we've had to do that where like the label's reflective, so you have to move the light to like get all the aspects of the label and then like composite all those together. Kind of similar technique, but yeah, there's a lot of times where you can't get everything that you want in one shot. Like you can't get a hard shadow and a soft light at the same time. Yeah. So you have to take two images and then put them together, which is the magic of Photoshop.
And that certainly helps.
Yeah. Marissa says, that is amazing that you have taken the initiative to make projects for yourself. Very inspirational.
Thank you.
I mean, honestly, all your work looks like professional work. Like, I think you put the same amount of effort into it that you would for a client, which is
probably more effort than you would put into a commercial job. Because
which is amazing.
Yeah.
Renee is asking if you desaturate blacks and whites when you're editing.
So that affects when you're printing stuff. So what happens when you're printing stuff is you don't want your black values to go beyond like 5.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go beyond like 250, because that's when the problem is the printer just won't print and it'll just leave a blank space. But when we're posting pictures on the internet, like 255 of white is just fine.
Yeah.
But then if you're printing, you need like some luminosity marks, or you just need to clip the boundaries basically just to get the print right. For digital, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
So right now we have like 4 layers here.
Okay.
And what I am going to do is just clean this up a bit.
Okay. We have about 5 minutes until Chat and Win. Our prize today is $30 to moo.com. You can print business cards, postcards, all sorts of things. So make sure that you're active in the chat so you guys have a chance to win that. It's a pretty good prize. I would use it.
I would do it.
I love getting new business cards.
I'm gonna go back a few steps.
Okay. Is moving the layers around?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just creating different groups.
Okay.
So we have each product in a separate group, so we can move them as a group.
Okay.
So right now we have 4 groups here. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay. Great.
So again, what we do now is scripts, load files into stack. So basically we're gonna do the same thing here.
Okay. With the brush.
Yeah. So I have a project on Behance named NARS, and we're creating, I think so, it's the third image
Yeah.
which we're trying to create. I'm gonna show you how I did it in a photo illustrative way.
It's beautiful. The furry little edge there.
Yeah.
Someone's asking, I'm an aspiring teenager from India. I want to be a photographer in the US. Do I need a degree? Do you think a degree is essential?
I think formal education certainly helps, is what I can say. I think working on your concepts is equally important as working
Yes.
on your techniques.
Yeah.
That's kind of the difference between like getting out directly in the commercial world and getting yourself a formal education. And I think so school is good for building portfolio.
Yeah.
When you start like out in the real world, you normally start by assisting, and when you're assisting, you're involved in the industry, but you're not creating a lot of work yourself.
Right.
So I think creating work for yourself is important, and I think school is a good opportunity to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's things that you learn on the job, and then there's
Yeah.
things that you learn in school.
Yeah.
And
I think a combination of both is a perfect one.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then Vishal is asking if you'd recommend a Wacom tablet for every commercial retouching job. Do you want to talk about the tablet that you're using?
Yes, I'm using a pen tablet.
Yeah.
I think so. I'm more comfortable because I used to draw a lot earlier, and while I'm using the tablet, it feels that I'm drawing stuff,
Right.
and I'm not uncomfortable using the tablet. But I think it's a personal choice.
Yeah.
Some people just use the mouse, and those are professional retouchers too. So it's not necessary. But I think it certainly helps when you're brushing stuff out or painting stuff.
Yeah.
It certainly helps. It's kind of a natural movement,
Yeah.
a natural hand position, so certainly helps.
Yeah.
And I would recommend it, but not like stress on it too much.
Right. It's personal
Yeah,
preference. So.
personal.
Yeah. Good question. Thank you guys for asking. Andre is asking if you could just copy the mask to each layer since it's the same.
Yeah, so
product.
I'll show you what the thing is. These are not exactly in the same position, right?
Because you rotated them so that you
Yeah.
could get all the different
all
letters.
all the different alphabets. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll try to make this fast.
Yeah, it's okay.
Normally, I would spend more time in my pathing,
Sure.
but just so that you get an idea of
Yeah.
how it is.
Marissa's asking, I know you cut out the shadows. Are you going to make them like real shadows? So if you change the background, the shadow changes too if you change the background color?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're actually gonna have these in a different document. So we'll be creating a new document soon where we'll be like getting all these layers and we'll be changing the blending modes. That's why I kind of like to have the shadow in a different plate,
Yeah.
so that gives us the flexibility of changing background colors, and basically you can just change the luminosity and blending modes,
Right.
and you can play around with the shadows too.
Okay, it is time for Chat and Win.
Mm-hmm.
So hop in the chat, and you'll have a chance to win a $30 gift card to moo.com. We'll see you in a minute. Okay, we are back. Just waiting to hear who is going to win our gift card to moo.com. Let's see. Yes, not stickers this time, but I think you can get stickers from Moo. So you can get a variety of things, which is kind of fun. You can pick and choose. You can get postcards. You can get business cards. I think you can get like letterhead and stuff like that too.
Leave behinds are also a good option. Yeah, they have different like finishes over them. Like matte and glossy. Matte's my favorite one.
Yeah, matte looks nice. Oh, Andre, congratulations. You will get a message on Behance about how you can redeem your gift card. And then if you did not win, you can go to moo.com/Adobe Live. You can get 15% off your purchase. And then just as a reminder, we have our creative challenge in a little bit, so make sure you submit to that. We want to see your posters and album covers. And Pratik will be going over those and offering some feedback. Yes. If you missed the replay, you can see Jesus' demonstration if you just watched the replay from earlier this morning. But yeah, make sure you submit.
Yeah.
We want to see it. Okay, well, if you're just joining us, Pratik is working on this image. It's a personal project, and he's going to show us how he makes this one lipstick into multiple lipsticks and then does some illustration.
Create something beautiful.
It's pretty awesome. Van Damme is asking if there was a live stream before this one. So there was one this morning at 9 a.m. with Jesus. It's a special 1 week daily creative challenge. And after this, there's going to be more XD. So this morning at 9 with Jesus. Right now we're live with Pratik until 11:30, and then at 11:30 there'll be the XD Daily Creative Challenge with Peter, and at noon will be an XD stream with Osama, and so you want to make sure you stick around for that. And you can always catch the replays if you're not able to watch live. All the videos are saved on Behance, and you can go through. There's so many really cool streams, so many different topics, so many different artists. And so I definitely recommend going through those and checking them out and seeing all the different work that's being done. It's really cool.
Yeah. I spend a lot of time on Behance.
Yes.
Referencing stuff.
Yeah.
Lot of good inspiration.
There's so many videos on there. You could probably watch for days and days and days and not go through them all.
I think I spend almost half an hour each day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really good stuff on Behance.
Yeah, it's really cool to see everyone's different processes and even different ways that people use the same tools, right? Like we have you working on retouching, but we've also had streams where people are illustrating on Photoshop or they're doing graphic design on Photoshop. And so it's really cool to see so many different things that you can do with the same tool.
Yeah, I actually take a lot of inspiration from graphic designers.
Yes. Yeah, your work is very graphical.
I studied a bit of graphic design.
Did you?
When I was doing my bachelor's.
Okay.
So my bachelor's was in Mumbai.
Okay.
It was in commercial arts. So basically we learned everything from typography to photo to like illustration.
That's really cool.
That's when I selected photography as an elective.
Okay.
And I'm doing it since then.
Yeah.
So,
is that what made you, like, were taking those classes what kind of got you into photography, or were you into photography before that?
No, I was not at all into photography.
Okay.
And that's a strange thing because my father and my grandfather both are photographers.
Are they both commercial photographers?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. But the thing with me was I it was never my hobby.
Okay.
Basically. And I never shot outside or never shot any landscapes or stuff.
Huh.
But yeah, when the time came to select a subject for an elective, I mean, I think it was just meant to be.
Yeah, you kind of fell in love with it as you were.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So right now you're going through and masking out all these backgrounds.
And cleaning these a bit. Not too much, but you get the gist of it. I'd spend more time cleaning stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Well, especially product is very important.
Product is,
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm promoting a product and if I'm the client, I wouldn't like my product
to look
to
dusty.
have smudges and spots on it.
Yes.
So.
And the logo and label have to be very clear. Like that should be the focus, right?
Totally.
Yeah, it can't be obstructed at all. And then this is the shadow layer.
This is the shadow.
Okay.
So you see how it affects
sharper.
the product. And it's kind of a harsh light.
Yeah.
I mean, some products react better
yeah.
in harsher light, but
not everything.
That's totally dependent on the aesthetic you're going for.
Yeah. It makes sense that something that's black especially would kind of get washed out with a harder light. Whereas something that's like white or a lighter color might not affect it as much.
Yeah. Just feather it. So same things, we are making groups of these.
Okay. Carol's asking, what is the preserve doing?
So it's preserving the mask. Basically what we are doing is we are adding a blank layer, and Photoshop doesn't know that whether it should preserve the mask for the previous layer. So basically we are just adding it, so it preserves the mask but adds the layer.
Okay. Good questions.
Yep. Group 2, group 1, group 3. Yep.
Great.
This is the 4th group.
Okay.
So we have like all in different groups. So now what we do is we come to new, we create a new document.
Okay.
Say be 17, maybe 11 by 17.
Okay.
That's a print size.
Yeah. Are you planning on like printing this, or are you just kind of choosing that because it's like a standard size?
It's a standard size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically what we do here is copy all these layers.
So you did a copy and paste of all the layers to bring them in to this new document.
Yeah. And we group all these layers. We name it as open.
Okay. Because it's the like the open lid of the product. Okay.
So here these can be closed.
Okay.
Together, closed.
And you mentioned earlier that you usually start with a sketch. So you would already have in your mind like this is how this image is gonna look, and you're gonna kind of like
basically I try to position all the products where they need to be.
Yeah.
And that's how they need to be shot as well.
Right. Yeah.
So basically you need to approach it with a plan. It's good if you have one. If you don't have one, you better have a lot of variation.
Yeah.
In shooting.
Do you ever get to the place where you're placing products and maybe it doesn't really look like how your sketch looked, or you're kind of not happy with it, or do you usually find that like the planning process helps you create something that you're happy with?
So not often.
But sometimes.
Yeah.
What do you do then? Do you scratch it, or do you kind of try to reshoot it, or like what happens if you're you get to the final product and it's not really what you envisioned in your head?
Try to reshoot it.
Reshoot it?
Try to, yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. So what we do is we take these out because it's selecting just the group. So you see how
Okay.
we have all
the
these
different
here.
ones. Yep.
Yeah.
And there's the shadow. Or is that... Yeah, that's the shadow one.
Yeah.
On the end there.
I think we missed one.
Okay.
This comes here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh yeah, the S. I'm
Yeah.
missing the S.
This is the A. Okay. This is the N. We're good with this one. Yeah, we missed the S.
Okay. There it is.
Yeah. So we copy this.
Okay.
Too many groups.
It's a lot of different layers. There we go.
Yep. Basically, now we need to resize this.
Okay.
So basically, what we can do is we can get a center line for ourselves.
Okay.
Okay.
Vishal's asking if you've worked with product stylists ever.
Yes.
How does that affect your work?
So that helps a lot, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
because then it lets you focus on your thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then instead of trying to do everything, you're doing the art direction, the styling,
Yeah.
the photography, the retouching.
It
You're
lets
kind of
you-
focusing on one.
It
aspect.
lets you concentrate on your stuff.
Yeah.
So working with a stylist certainly helps.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I don't know why it's not doing the
Why
thing.
it's not resizing the whole thing.
Yeah. So what we do is we go again here.
Bring it in again.
Yeah. Well, let's just get rid of the mask.
Okay.
We have the shadow here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just quickly pat it out.
Okay. Because you don't need it anyway.
Yeah.
Great. Shalyn says hi.
Hey, Shalin. Shalin's one of my good friends.
Aw,
He is from the city, and we go to the school together.
that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, Norris is saying the mask is not linked to the image in the grouped folder.
I
It
see.
should work now.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Workarounds.
Sometimes having too many layers confuses you.
Yes. Okay.
So this is basically a rough layout.
Okay.
We obviously would be spending
More
way
time.
too much time.
Yes, making sure it's like
Yeah.
precisely correct. Yeah.
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 So we have groups here.
Great.
Okay. So to change the color further, what we do is we just get some grids out here.
Okay.
I mean, this is to change the colors here.
Of the lip
Yeah.
gloss itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we do is we just pat this out.
If you're go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
If you're just joining us, Pratik.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah, Pratik is working on a portfolio piece, and basically shot one lipstick color and is going to be changing it into multiple colors.
Yeah.
And then like doing a little bit of illustration work to kind of bring more color into the composition too. So right now you're showing how you change the color.
So what I did here was we had basically this. I just selected this separately. I inverted the layer so you can see now.
Okay.
And then we have an adjustment layer where we can do like whatever color we like.
Okay.
Right. So done with this group. Next with this. We just do this roughly.
Okay.
So that it's a bit repetitive for all the things.
Sure.
But then you can individually control like each color.
Just by changing the hue saturation.
Yeah. Or your preferred way, like you can
Yeah.
use color balance or whatever works for you works for you. I mean, there are so many different ways to get color grading done in Photoshop.
Yes.
You can use blending modes. You can maybe have a strip of a color and have this in a different layer and then just choose the blending mode
Sure.
to add or take out color.
Andres asking, where is Casper? I think Casper went away. Thankfully. Hopefully won't be back.
I mean, if you're working with TIFF files and if you're having a hue saturation, it takes on pretty well.
Why don't you use copy and paste instead of just like going through and recreating?
Yeah,
the
so
mask?
normally when I actually did this project, basically I had just the bottom part and then just pasted the top part of the object.
Got it.
Like all the
yeah.
alphabets, but that takes a bit of time, so this is kind of a rough way to
a quick way to do it for the stream. But yeah, you definitely could do that too.
Yeah.
When you did this originally, did you go to their website to kind of get what like the real colors would be, or did you kind of just eye it?
Yeah, so I went to the website and I saw the color chart where they had. So when you order it online, you need you get the color chart.
Yeah.
And I basically have the colors in that specific color chart.
Okay.
So we group this together. Or what we can do now is work on the shadow. So this is the shadow layer.
Okay.
And for the background, we can have a fill layer or just use our preferred color.
Okay.
We say this one. Or you can also do it this way, solid color, and basically you can choose
Any color. Yeah.
any color. For the shadows, now comes the thing.
Okay.
What we do here is,
So if you weren't watching earlier, Pratik shot the shadows separately from the product so that the light on the product could be soft, and then the shadow could be hard, and then he's
Yeah.
going to be adding in the shadow to
Yeah.
the products.
so what we do here is select the shadow, choose multiply,
Okay.
and then what I've kind of figured out is if you use color burn, it kind of matches the color which you have in background, just gives us subtle punch.
Yeah.
And then maybe you could reduce the opacity depending on how much color you want.
Okay.
So basically this is how it affects when
Yeah.
you turn it on and off. So basically we group this, we call it shadow. So this is just one group.
Great.
It's kind of getting complicated now.
That's okay. Lots of layers.
Yeah, lots of
That's
layers.
how it goes.
That's how it is.
Vishal's asking, what was the most difficult product to shoot? I always have problems with reflective surfaces like jewelry. What's most difficult for you?
I think you can see one of the projects in my profile, which is Impossible Paint.
This one.
Yes, that is it.
Yes.
So
Can
yeah,
we-
that was challenging.
Can we pull up my screen for a second?
That took
Perfect, there you
a
go.
while. That took a
Yeah.
while to get it done.
It looks impossible. Probably hard too because it's like a crazy shape, crazy idea, and then like you want to get perfect drips and perfect like
Yeah,
flow right here, and then it's also a reflective object. So
totally. And the
Yeah.
challenge was I didn't know what to start with first,
yeah,
basically. So do I start with photographing the bottle? Do I start with doing the 3D stuff?
yeah.
So I think at the end of this session, I might be able to explain you how I did it.
Okay, stay tuned.
Yeah.
Marissa's asking, how did you come up with the idea for this project, for the NARS one that you're working on now?
So like I said in my portfolio stuff, I'm trying to have like different categories of still life covered. So I was hoping to shoot cosmetics. Cosmetics is by far my favorite category to photograph. And then I just went to a store. I went to Sephora and I just saw a few products which I thought maybe I could shoot those.
Yeah, you're
And
inspired
that's-
by the product.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was actually inspired by the product. It was a matte finish product. It absorbs light beautifully.
Yeah.
So that solved the problem.
Yeah, really nice
Yeah,
packaging.
that solved some problems for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not shiny. It's not
Yeah.
gonna give you trouble, and it's
Yeah, it
it's
takes
square
light well.
too, so it's not gonna be rolling around.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yep. So these are our
With the shadow.
with the
Great.
shadow. Yep. We'll select group. And what we do now here is 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
We just group these together. We name it maybe left.
Okay.
Duplicate that layer.
Okay.
Name it right. And then these just come up here.
Those grids are so useful.
Oh yes, I can't do without these.
Yes. Do you ever try to eyeball it and then see how good you are? I do that. I like try to see if I can match up with my eye before I use the grids, just for like my own pride.
Kind of.
To see like how close I am.
Come.
Yeah. I have about 30 minutes until Pratik will be going over our daily creative challenge. So make sure you submit. You can watch the replay if you missed it. Jesus is doing a special 1 week challenge, and today the challenge is to design a modern album cover or poster, and we're really excited to see your work, so make sure you submit so we have lots to review.
Is it more like a music cover?
Yeah, it could
or
be
a movie
music.
cover?
Yeah, I think the theme is kind of music, album cover, poster, but you could really do whatever you want. But I think an album cover is pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
So
what we do now here is, if we feel that the shadows are too light, we can actually go to the specific layer, and then just increase the opacity.
Got it. Till it looks right.
Maybe we can do it for everyone so that looks just right. And then if we decide to change these colors, we just come into the properties, and we are just completely free to do each one a different color.
Yeah. Asma says, I'm currently doing photo shoots for beauty care products that mostly look the same but with different names. Any advice? So do you have advice on kind of adding variety to your projects?
Yeah, I think so. If you're trying to follow the brand aesthetic, you're kind of restricted in working accordingly to the brand. But if you're trying to make portfolio just so that you can show your style, your aesthetic, then I think that's a good way to start.
Yeah.
Right, then, because you have a leeway for most of the things then.
Right.
So again, with the open stuff, you just paste these.
Okay. So these are the lids, the open lids.
Yeah, so we have right, left, and these will be centered.
Okay.
So basically the same thing. Multiply, it kind of darkens the image, and then if you add color burn, it kind of
How long do you typically spend working on a shot like this? Like from sketching to shooting to retouching?
takes a while.
Yeah.
Takes a while.
A long time.
Yeah, takes a while. I mean, it depends on what the final outcome is, right?
Right. Yeah.
If you're trying to get something too complicated, then it does take a while. Whoa. Hold on.
And I mentioned this earlier, but in case you missed it, next week, Adobe Live will be streaming from Max. So you want to make sure you tune in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. There'll be some keynotes streamed. There'll be professionals talking about updates to Photoshop and some demos. And so make sure you tune in next week. It's going to be pretty cool. Especially if you're not able to make it to Max. Like, you get to kind of experience it a little bit live, which is awesome.
So just duplicating this the same way, and then we just match the shadows with the shadow opacity with the previous one. So we have color burn on 50 and multiply on 80. So it kind of matches the density of the shadows.
Yeah.
So normally if you would be shooting this for a client,
Yeah.
basically you'd have like hundreds of these, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but when you're just starting out, when you're building your portfolio, I mean, there's hardly a chance when you would buy all this stuff, right?
Right.
So basically you need to figure out
ways
yeah. to just get it done, basically.
Yeah, because if you are shooting this for a client, they would give you all the colors, but they'd probably give you like multiples of all the colors, so that
and
they're not.
they would give you like a specific shade too.
Yes.
They would give you details of what colors we actually want.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now this needs to match up
the sizing.
The size.
And again, those guides. So helpful.
Oh, yes. Don't know what we do without them.
I know.
This is roughly there.
Yeah, Marissa's asking if you share your work with the companies of the products you shoot. So would you take this and show it to NARS or?
Yes. So if I'm pitching to the art director, to the client, so basically this would help me a lot. Because first of all, it's their product.
Yeah.
They would love to see it. And then it kind of gives you an advantage that you've already shot the product and they know exactly what you can do with their product, not with a different brand.
Yes.
Right? So that's definitely going to work to your advantage.
Yeah. Absolutely. Do you do that now, or are you mostly just focused on school and then you'll do that after school? Or
I'm doing that right now.
You're doing that now?
Yeah. So basically what you can do is, so if you like a particular company, just see what their aesthetic is and see what kind of work they like to do.
Yeah, it's really important.
Try something out and hopefully you have your own kind of like an impression over the work where it looks like, oh yeah, it has your impression of maybe your style or something
their
like that.
Their aesthetic and your style and aesthetic combines. Yeah. How do you have advice for how you would go about contacting somebody or how you would like get your work in front of them?
So it depends on who you want to contact too. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're trying to contact an art director, basically what you do is you just go maybe say on LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn.
You type in say suppose NARS.
Sure.
And then NARS and maybe art director, and it shows you the list of all the art directors working there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then you can send them an email and you can include these images. Yeah. That's so smart. I found too, you can also, like if you post this on Instagram and you tag NARS, they're going to see it.
Yeah. They might not respond, but they'll definitely see it.
They'll definitely see it. So you can kind of get your work in front of their eyes that way. And then you want to come like multiple directions, and then you can send them an email.
Yeah.
You can message them directly on LinkedIn too. There's a lot of ways, and like the more avenues you have to get in contact with people.
To get response, I think it's important to reach out to an art buyer.
Yeah.
Who kind of decides a few things.
Yeah.
Or the creative director or the art director. So these are people who are gonna see and then respond. Right? These are pretty much in the same.
Grouping them all together.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 So now
Looking good.
we can maybe change the color
Okay.
depending on what we like. And it seamlessly blends your shadow because those are on a different layer on a different blending mode.
Oh yeah, Anders asking if you're gonna change the color of the tips of the brushes.
Yeah, we can. So like we did have these things in a separate layer.
Yeah.
Basically, we can have these on a separate layer. And it's basically the same process.
Yeah.
So now what we do here is I kind of did some illustration on the file. So basically what we do is we have a blank layer which sits right underneath the center.
Okay.
Yeah. And we basically have guides here. And basically we fill this up with maybe few of the colors here.
You just eyedrop that exact color.
Yeah. And then just drag it down.
So fun.
Yeah. And then what you do is just duplicate this
Okay.
4 times. Just place it slightly there. And basically now you can change
the
color
of each of those.
of each of those. Exactly.
Perfect. So much easier to do that in Photoshop than to try to like use the product to make an actual like colored line. Can you imagine?
I mean, if you're working with a stylist, then
Yes.
you don't have to worry about it. But then
But to make it so perfect,
Oh,
like,
yes.
there's
I mean,
no way.
even if you have like colored strips of paper, it's gonna be a lot of time to
Yeah.
perfect those straight lines. So basically now what you do here is you come to this layer
Okay.
and then individually select all the tips out. And then maybe choose the blending mode. To maybe so you kind of match the things. Or maybe what we can do is just use color balance here.
Okay.
And try to match this.
Colorado is asking, can you give us an example of how you plan when your design needs 2 options, like dark or light? I'm not sure exactly. Maybe you could clarify a little bit what that means, Colorado. But I guess if you have like multiple,
kind of.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
So are you planning about approaching things while you're planning a photo shoot, are you trying to incorporate design? I'd love to know more about it.
Yeah.
Like what the question is and what exactly the problem is, and maybe we could discuss that right now.
Yeah. I guess if you are planning and you need like multiple kinds of shots, like do you have advice for that? Like, so if you did need, the client words to say like, okay, we want like a lighter shot and a darker shot, how you would plan that out. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the client would be absolutely sure of the output, right?
Yeah.
They would know exactly what they want, and basically the lighter and the darker option is just for the photographer.
Yeah.
So basically, when we're shooting stuff, we do a lighting bracket.
Yes.
So basically, when we are sure of a final shot, the hero shot, basically what we do is we go one stop up on all the strobe lights, have a shot, we call it one up, we bracket down half a stop, we call it one down. Basically that gives us enough of information to play around with when we are doing a post-production.
Yeah.
So that's mostly for the photographer, just to be in a safe spot.
Have options. Yeah, let us know if that answers your question. If you can clarify the question a little bit.
Yeah, so basically we would be doing this for everyone.
Yeah.
And so you kind of get the gist of it, of how this is. It's in a luminosity blend in a different layer. So I think this is quite okay. And now you would do exactly same for the other three as well.
Right.
So
yeah.
So these we can call strips.
Perfect. Matthias is asking, when I start projects and look for inspiration for my brief, I often end up not knowing where to go and researching for hours. Is that just part of the process? Do you have any advice for finding inspiration when you're looking at a brief or a project?
Yeah, so basically, I'll talk specifically with products.
Yeah.
So basically, if you see a product and if you cannot visualize it, just connect it to something.
Okay.
Like think of a interesting background, or think of a interesting maybe idea. Search for graphic design inspiration. Search for color inspiration.
Yeah.
If it's gonna be just on a white background, add some complementary colors. If it's a yellow product, maybe have a purple background.
Yeah.
Just some things to make it interesting.
Yeah. Yeah,
I feel.
Yeah, I really like that you mentioned like graphic design or other things. Like I think sometimes we just look at photography inspiration, but if you look outside of photography, illustration, graphic design, architecture, you're gonna find a lot of inspiration there.
Yeah, sometimes like too much photography inspiration makes you quite rigid.
Yeah.
And then you're in that box, and then when you're in the box, you just can't think outside the box.
Yeah.
So it's better to start outside the box and then maybe get into the box.
Yeah.
After.
Yeah. That's great advice.
That definitely helps.
That's great advice.
So what we can do now here is, I'm having two blank layers, which go on top.
Okay.
Basically, the image is kind of flat now.
Okay.
We need to give it some direction of light now that shadows are coming from 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So now that we haven't shot the background and we're creating it digitally, we need to have a gradient in the background as well.
Yes.
So what we'll do is we'll now get white.
Okay.
Then again get black.
So you're creating a light source now.
Yeah.
So it looks realistic.
Yeah. So what we do now here is we go to the blending mode. I think overlay works well here.
Overlay?
I think it's just works overall. And then we just reduce the opacity.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe 10. Not too much. We don't want to blast it down the corners. But yeah, just a subtle hint of see how this affects it.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference, but it's very subtle.
Subtle, yeah. So we call this gradient.
Okay. How do you work on like growing your like connections with clients? Like you mentioned a little bit earlier, like just sending them a message or an email. But do you have other ways?
I think so. Promotional events, promotional materials help a lot.
Yeah.
You just send out an email to them that this is a new project I created. Please let me know your thoughts on this one. Or if it's a direct message, then you better have something you're working with their products,
right?
Like actual products, rather than if I'm sending an email out to people from NAS. I don't want to show like a Marc Jacobs or something. So yeah, you need to have a kind of a plan, and then eventually it all works out.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. Vishal's asking, there's a lot of your work on Behance. Which is your favorite project that you have on Behance?
My favorite project would be Impossible Paint.
The one that we showed just a few minutes ago.
Because that took a while. I literally needed to learn a new 3D software, because I just couldn't get that in camera myself.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of ways to get it done, because I thought it was a good idea which needed an equally good amount of execution.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
That is my favorite, because I spent a lot of time on that.
Yeah. Cool. Good questions. Thank you guys for asking them.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
So
go ahead. I was going to promote tomorrow. Make sure you come back tomorrow, because you're going to be showing some original work that you did that's not on your Behance just for the stream. So.
Yeah.
Sorry. Continue.
Yeah. So this is kind of a final image here, and so it kind of matches the one we already did.
Yeah.
Just different colors, and I think so.
I love that all those images that are in that little section. They match together so well, and they're very cohesive, but they're like distinct enough from each other. It's really cool.
And that's pre-thought.
Yeah.
That's pre-thought.
Right, because you thought through them all before, and like how can you connect them?
Yeah.
And they're very simple, but they're very eye-catching.
So it again comes back to the same point of promotion.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to reach out somebody, I mean, if it's a series of images, the person knows that you have spent a while doing this. You have thought a lot. It's not just limited to one image. It can be an extension of an idea. So that's a big point.
Yeah, you're showing that they could hire you to do a full campaign, and you can create variety that are connected and like follow the same thread. I think that's important for brands, especially. They want multiple images usually.
Exactly, and now. I think we live in the time of social media where the content needs to be created non-stop.
Yes.
So you have to just keep producing work.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, beautiful. Thank you for showing us that.
Yeah. So this was it. Should we head on?
Start something else? We have about 10 minutes until the creative challenge, so we can get started on something.
Yeah.
Make sure you submit. Only about 10 minutes left until Pratik will be giving some feedback. So make sure that you submit your album cover, your poster. We really want to see your work.
Yeah.
Asma's asking what inspires you to do new projects and keep building your portfolio.
So as I said, I'm trying to incorporate different categories which come under still life. So even if I don't like a particular category, I need to work on it. And maybe this project, the project portfolio project is more about like self-discovery, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because it kind of will give me an idea about the things I can shoot well and things I cannot. So that you can only know that when you do a particular thing.
Yeah.
You can know if you can do it for a while, if you're like really good at it. But you can't do it without trying it.
Right, yeah, basically. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
And things that you think might be impossible or really difficult, then you figure out a way to do them and troubleshoot that, and then you can take what you learned in that project and apply it to a client work in the future, because you've already kind of troubleshot it. You kind of know how to do it again.
Yeah.
Or do something similar.
And basically, one more thing I would stress on when I'm shooting, I like to document it all.
Oh, that's so smart.
So basically, if you want to repeat a particular shot,
Yes.
you can do that. So basically, you have
Yes.
all your camera height registered, all your lighting numbers registered, like distance from the lens to the product.
Yes, that's
So basically, you
smart.
can mimic the entire shoot for the next time,
Okay.
and that leaves you in a better position. So if I'm like literally hired by NAS to shoot something similar, I don't have to
don't have to
problem
start
solve
from
it again.
scratch.
I just refer my
Yeah.
notes and then just do
That's
it.
so smart because you always think you're going to remember. And then
Yeah,
you're
no.
not going to.
I mean, you can
You
remember.
can estimate, but
You can remember where you place the light
Sure.
and stuff, but
especially
Yeah.
once you do so many projects, like, oh my goodness. Yeah, it's going to be hard.
so now
Nora says we're all waiting to know how you did the impossible painting, but you're gonna show that at the very end, right? Keep us in suspense.
I'm not gonna like literally do stuff
Do the
because
whole
it
thing,
kind of
yeah.
took days to
Yeah.
get it done.
Yeah.
But I will have an open PSD file where
Show us your
I would be
layers.
turning off and on all the layers.
Okay.
So just that you guys get to know what steps went to
Okay.
creating that one.
We're gonna do it right after the creative challenge review.
Yeah.
So make
Okay.
sure that you Is that
Yeah.
what you want to do? Okay.
Yeah.
So make sure you stick around.
Yeah.
It's incentive to keep watching.
So now we can maybe start on this one. Eraser food project.
Yes. So these are erasers.
These are
That's so cool.
these
And
are-
so you saw them and you were inspired by them.
Yeah, so I was just strolling around Japantown, which is in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And there's a Japanese kind of a dollar store. It's kind of a dollar store.
Yeah.
And I found these erasers. I mean,
cool.
these had an incredible amount of detail in them.
Yeah, for
So
tiny
I just-
little erasers.
Yeah, so I just couldn't ignore them, and
Yeah.
I was like, let's do something with it, and
How
then
fun.
yeah, this is how it all started. So the store had like few of them,
Okay.
and I then went to Amazon to check if they had more of those.
Oh, the same brands?
Yeah,
That's so smart. Yeah.
and they had a lot of them.
Okay. Xavier's asking how long it usually takes to complete a product shoot.
Oh, a while.
Yeah, yeah.
It takes a bit of time. So maybe if you want your process to be more streamlined, what you can normally do is you can do a pre-light, where you just do a lighting test and see if the lighting is working or what you need to do to get the lighting right.
Yeah.
And then maybe if you're happy with it, you shoot the product the next day.
Right.
That saves you a lot of time, and I mean, pre-light also makes you aware of the challenges which you won't be expecting otherwise.
Right. Yeah.
So that makes you aware of how the product is reacting, what's reflecting where,
Yeah.
how you need to problem solve those reflections and shadows and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
can be a
good
good way
advice.
to get started. And pre-light doesn't have to be in a studio. Earlier, what I used to do is I used to have the product with me, and I would just use a cell phone flashlight
Okay.
basically to see how the product absorbs light, how it reacts. And basically that light is no different than a strobe light because
Right.
it's just the difference of scale, right? The strobe lights are bigger,
Yeah.
the flash
more
is smaller.
powerful.
Just the difference in scale, nothing else.
Yeah.
The scale and the quality of light, but the direction of light can stay the same, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and the timing really is going to depend too on how
Yeah.
complex the project as a whole
Yeah.
is. Just a couple more minutes, so make sure
Yeah.
you submit your creative challenges. We want to see what you guys create.
This, delete this, and
Okay.
So we do is spat this out roughly.
So you did the same thing when you shot the shadows separately for this as well.
Food is mostly, so I want, even though these are erasers, I wanted to have like the basic approach while shooting food is like we normally use soft light because we refine this mask a bit.
Okay. And you're going to put these into a pattern, right? So it's so much easier to shoot them individually and then to like put them into a pattern in Photoshop than to try to set up a pattern perfectly and shoot it.
Exactly. Yeah. And also, if we would be shooting this like totally in camera and not doing a photo illustration out of it, so basically that we're shooting at an angle, right? It's not top down.
Right.
So basically, then there's a lot of issues for focusing because the focal plane is parallel to the lens, right? And the objects are not. So basically, you would need to focus track the entire image, which would also be a lot of work then.
Yeah, or you would have to focus like front, middle, back, and then composite those images. Yeah. So either way, you're going to be doing compositing.
Yeah.
But the setting up of like the pattern is going to be way more challenging too. Like that's, you know, to make it all perfectly spaced.
Exactly,
you can do it, but this will save you time.
Also, while shooting these kind of images, so now that I knew that I would be making a grid out of it, so basically the angle needs to be refined a bit. It needs to look that it's been repeating. If you're shooting from a different angle, it won't necessarily look like it's seamless, right?
Right.
So the angle needs some problem solving.
Okay.
You need to find just about the right angle where it looks like it might be repeating.
Okay.
Just doing this roughly, but
okay. One more question before we jump over to our creative challenge. Nora's asking, what does the word hero mean? And when it comes to product photography, do you want to talk about hero shots?
So basically, when we are shooting tethered, basically we have a lot of files, and like I mentioned, we always note down all the details about the lighting, about the camera settings. So when you are happy with a particular shot, you feel that this is the one which has the perfect lighting, perfect angle, perfect everything. So you just make a log of it. So you just note down, and that's your hero shot. The hero shot is one which you would be retouching.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So there's a hero product shot and a hero shadow plate. So basically, that's how the terms are. Yeah. That's the winner, and that's gonna be retouched. Basically, that's how it is.
Great. Well, let's hop over to our daily creative challenge review. And this week is a special 1 week challenge. And earlier today, Jesus was showing how to make album covers, posters using shapes and text and all sorts of things. So you can watch the replay for that. If you missed it, you can still submit to the challenge later and get some feedback. But we're going to go through what's been submitted already. So this is our first one. It's really fun.
In pieces.
Yeah. So we got like a pattern going on in the back. We've got this color on the actual image, and then some text going across.
I like the color grading on the person. Yeah, looks more of a pop art.
Yeah, it looks
Pop
very
art
pop
thing.
art, very fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Looks really cool.
Oh, and these are actually like little puzzle pieces.
Oh,
These
I
little
see.
patterns, and then it says missing
Yeah.
pieces. That's cool.
That is cool. That is cool. And I love how it's like the magenta reacts with the green, with the yellow. Kind of is a solid contrast. Right?
Yeah, it's beautiful. I'd say maybe like these little guys back here could be taken out.
Yeah. And maybe the text could maybe go on his t-shirt.
That would be cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I think might blend in the like t-shirt.
Yeah.
So it looks like a printed t-shirt, but still conveys your text.
Yeah.
Right?
That would be a fun addition. Oh, this giraffe. How cute.
So I want to know more about this one. So I mean about the patterns itself. So have you guys created like a brush which you kind of painted? Like have you guys created the brush of the shape which is in the background, or
How was the
maybe
pattern
I'd love to know
created?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, let us know. We didn't get to see the full
Yeah.
tutorial, so
Yeah.
not sure exactly what was shown, but
Yep.
yeah, I
It's
think
quite nice.
yeah, it's really nice. I love this text. It's really
And there's
nice.
some bouquet too in the background.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Kind
really
of
cool.
gives a different layer to it rather than just being
Flat.
flat and 2D. Yeah.
There's some texture up here too. I don't know if you can see it too well, but it kind of looks like paper texture maybe or something. So kind of combining different textures together. Just great.
Was this a theme, like a particular color scheme, or like pop colors, or?
I mean, I think that they could do whatever color scheme they wanted,
I
but it
see.
seems like these ones belong
I
together.
see. Yeah,
so.
yeah. They go really well together.
Yeah.
Like a diptych.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. This is the original photo.
Oh wow!
And then
you
this
did.
is
that's
how it was
that's
made.
some work. Yeah.
Into an album cover, Frank Ocean album cover.
And below is the original picture which he shot.
Yeah, this is the original picture that they have, and then they
really
made it into this.
nice work. I love
seeing
how
before
how
and
you
after.
have I love how you have the pattern in the alphabets too, and the background too looks quite solid.
Yeah. I think the only thing I'd say is this H is kind of blending in.
Yeah, maybe
the
if you
chin
could
right
have if you could had more of the t-shirt thing and the text like just goes on the bottom.
Yeah.
So much more readable. But
Because the D
overall
and the L stand
yeah.
out well, but this
Yeah.
just right here is a little.
Overall, it's really nicely done.
Yeah. It's another one. So you got another pattern going on. I like that pattern a lot.
Oh yes.
I like how the text is kind of going behind her right here too.
Is this so I'd love to know if this is a font or whether you have actually
Handwritten.
hand drawn it. Yeah. I'd love to know that. Overall, really nice work. Maybe you could add some more contrast
Yeah.
to the model
Yeah.
and maybe increase some black values so it has a pop art ish feeling, and that could elevate more if you have added contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think the yellow color goes so well though with like the
Oh,
be
yes.
happy, and then
Yeah.
and then the background pops so well. So I think having more contrast here would help
And
her
also,
to kind of come forward more.
Also, what I noticed is the E is behind the subject, which kind of gives you like layer 1, layer 2,
Yeah, I
layer
like
3.
that.
So I like that depth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if it's 2D, it kind of has that feeling
Of 3D.
of front and back.
Yeah, amazing. Ooh, this is fun.
Space Lord.
I like this texture on here, this like distressed like
Can you just
colors.
zoom in on that?
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Mm-hmm. That's nice. Have you used a blur, like a radial blur or a motion blur?
Yeah, let us know how you did this. This is fun. I like that it's repeated on the actual album too, or the record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fits in well together.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I love purple.
Mm-hmm.
Purple is one of my favorite colors.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
And this looks really good for an album cover.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, yeah, this could be an album cover.
Oh, absolutely.
It totally fits in the aesthetic.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really cool to place it in like a actual
like an actual
too.
mock-up where
Actual
you need
mock-up.
where it's gonna be.
Yeah, I
rather
think
than
that gives
an
it life.
artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes you relate more to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh,
Oh wow.
another one. So this must have been
People really love pop art, right?
Yeah.
I'm a fan of bold colors too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, the colors are so fun, so vibrant. That's great. I
love the smoke effect, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so well balanced between the text, the face, and the rest of the image.
Yeah, very
it's perfectly balanced.
Mm-hmm. I like that the piece on the actual record is different from this, but it matches so well because it's the color of the text and it kind of goes straight into that.
Maybe
looks cool.
maybe just a suggestion. I don't know if the one on the disc would have a yellow background and the same colored text, maybe would kind of match more together, right?
Yeah. Sure.
But nicely done.
Yeah. Looks great. I love this llama. Oh my gosh, and snails. How cute.
Love the font. Love the font. Honestly, never seen this one before. It's nice.
Yeah, it's a very like geometric font.
Yeah,
it's
and
very cool.
kind of fits in perfectly with all the design principles like breathing space and layout. It's well done. I love how the ears just come out of the orange right here.
Right here. Up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice.
Nice.
The color on the llama is great. Okay. Thank you guys so much for submitting. You can definitely watch the replay if you want to see how these were done. Oh, we have one more. Here we go. So much more simple one.
This is a nice portrait. Yeah.
Smooth jazz music.
Maybe in the background you could have something of a musical instrument or like how graphic designers like to use vectors and stuff.
Yeah, the
maybe
patterns
some
that
graphical vectors.
Yeah.
Yeah, could work pretty good.
Oh, and we have this one too.
Oh, oh man.
This is so fun.
This is gotta be my favorite one now. Yeah, I love the color scheme.
I love the colors.
Yeah, especially the color in the eyeglasses is balanced perfectly.
Yeah, it's here
on the sides.
and then it's here.
Yeah,
kind of brings your eye like through.
Yeah, like defines and completes the artwork, I feel.
I love too like the same pattern but used in a different way. So like it's bigger
you just
here.
zoom in.
Yeah. It's bigger here and then
Spades, yeah.
smaller. So it's still the same pattern but like it's not just one pattern in the background. It's kind of being used in multiple ways and creates more interest that way.
Yeah. And I love the fact how you have balanced all the shapes.
Yeah. And the text is really nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Fits in well together.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for submitting. There's going to be another Photoshop Creative Challenge tomorrow morning at 9 Pacific time, so make sure you watch that. We'll be reviewing those again tomorrow, so
Okay.
you'll get more feedback, and you'll get to join in the community conversation too. And then right after this will be an XD Daily Creative Challenge. So if you want to learn more about XD and practice, Peter will be doing a really cool demo, so make sure you stick around for that.
Yeah.
But do you want to go ahead and show us your Impossible Paint really quick?
Okay. We can.
Okay, since I think everyone's on the edge of their seats waiting.
Okay.
They want to know.
I think we'll go with that one.
Okay.
For now. I'll explain to you guys how it all came through.
Okay, I'm really curious. I really want to see this.
So basically, I'll tell you a short story about it, of how I thought about this idea. So I was in India for the summer, and I was actually watching an interview of a chef I'm really fond of. His name is Marco Pierre White.
Okay.
He's a 3-star Michelin chef, and he was speaking at Oxford. And I was just browsing through YouTube, and I was just watching the episode.
Okay.
And he had an interesting quote, and which was that we live in the days of refinement and not invention anymore.
Oh, interesting.
And what he was trying to say, that everything already is there.
Okay.
You can just refine it. And I kind of agreed to that thing, because normally what we do is, when we think of an idea, we sketch it out, we think that, oh, this is the most original idea ever, and then the moment we get on the internet, it's actually there.
Yeah.
It's just there. So what you can do to make it better. So regarding this project, I was a fan of MC Escher and his artworks. So I thought maybe, and that quote really stuck in my mind. So I was hoping, let's use the existing idea and maybe improvise it.
Okay.
Through my medium, which is photography.
Yeah, because he does illustration, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's how this project came to be. And so I mean, there was a lot of problem solving in this project, and I was hoping to get it done all in the camera, which was impossible.
Yeah.
Like the name. So basically, I thought that using 3D might be a good option. So I basically tried photographing, which was a complete failure.
Okay.
I tried to photograph shapes and then composite, but was not at all realistic and not at all believable.
Yeah.
So I actually learned 3D. So I learned 3D for a month. I made those shapes in 3D, which I'll show you right now.
Okay. That's really cool, because the inspiration for this came from multiple places.
You want me to open the C40 file?
Starting with an interview that you saw with a chef, which is a completely different medium, and then also taking inspiration from illustration, which is also different, and then kind of like combining that.
Yeah.
It shows that you can get inspiration from anywhere.
So basically, I learned this software, not too complicated.
Okay.
This was kind of a set which I made.
Wow.
And these are 2 basic lights, and I rendered a few things.
Okay.
This is how my set looks. And then what I did was, I had few renders. So this is basically the render from the model I created.
Yeah.
And what this does is, when you process the render, it gives you an option of saving it in a PSD file.
Okay.
So basically, you can choose like every particular adjustment on it. You can choose to have lights in a separate layer. You can choose to have shadows.
Got it.
You could choose your speculars.
Yeah.
So that makes it really easy to work on Photoshop.
Okay.
Because you have everything in a different layer.
Yeah.
So this is just the shadow plate.
Right.
And this is just the ambient occlusion.
Okay.
So you see how this affects? See how this affects it? Makes it look more real. And this is the shadow.
But you have them separate so that you can make adjustments to them separately if you need to. Yeah. Just like you do in your photos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The process is kind of similar in a way. So this was the shadow plate, and the ambient. And then I just had a background plate to work on.
Okay.
So basically I just got rid of the shape, rid of the cubes. So this is just how it looks under the same light.
Okay.
This is the background plate. So this is a single cube, right? And it has a different layer for the specular, different layer for the shadow. Pretty much the same things, but just a single cube. So basically what I did was I selected this particular cube and I basically built the structure out of it.
Got it.
And I used the shadow from the previous image.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And then after I was done with creating the shape and the shadows, I got this image in overlay while I was shooting the nail paint bottles.
Okay.
And so that's how it made my job easier to match those angles. Angle of shooting, right? The bottle needs to match the angle.
Yeah, so you already built the shape first before you shot the nail polish so that you knew the angle you needed to shoot the nail polish.
Exactly,
you knew how the drips needed to be.
I needed to match those crossing lines.
Okay.
So that made my job easier.
Yeah.
And that's I think a good way, because you can't just go wrong with it, right? If you match the angle, it's gonna look the way it needs to look.
Otherwise you're gonna be adjusting a lot. Yeah.
And then I'm not a fan of warping and transforming all the bottles. I don't want to lose the identity. So here,
smart.
if I'll explain you, this is the base layer.
Okay.
Alright. Then I had a few layers which I actually ended up turning them off.
Okay.
So this is the background layer. Then comes the cube. So basically I built an entire structure out of a single cube.
Wow.
And basically I selected just this part and then I just dodged it and burned it.
Okay.
Basically, just to make it look more real, that the shadows are actually falling under.
Right.
All right. Then comes, so now the challenge is to make this look more realistic.
Yeah.
How the
Yeah, because
challenge
now it
was,
looks like
now
an
it looks,
illustration or
it
something.
still looks 2D with shadows here and here, but rest of it still looks 2D.
Okay.
Doesn't look that it's been lit.
Right.
So now the challenge is to make it look real.
Okay.
So how we had the ambient occlusion in separate layers. So basically this is the layer. Every layer is on multiply.
Okay.
This is how the layer looks without the shape, basically.
Okay.
Right?
So it's adding in that realistic light.
Yeah. And then the blending modes multiply because that's how the 3D renders work. Right? And basically it's intended to help you composite, because if you get a render, you just don't use it. You just get onto Photoshop, add something, tweak it, play with it as if you have shot the image, basically.
Right.
So you need that extra level of control in Photoshop. So again, some more ambient occlusion here and the shadows here.
Wow. That makes such a huge difference.
Yeah. So if you turn this on and off, you see how
it looks so much more real.
Adds in.
That's why it's so important to learn how to see light and see it in real life so that you can then take it into your work and make your work realistic.
Exactly.
Any kind of compositing, you have to know what's going to look real, what doesn't look real.
And it certainly helps to do 3D if you have some knowledge of lighting.
Yeah.
And basically, if you have that, you can light it pretty well. Otherwise, it's all gonna be like flat.
Yeah.
In most of the cases. But if you have some lighting knowledge, that's definitely help you in getting stuff done.
So much. Wow.
And then these are a lot of layers.
Okay.
Not so complicated, just a lot of layers, but you see how
Just
this
adding those little details.
defines the shape, right? So this is left-sided ambient lights. These are right-sided ambient lights. See how it all makes a difference here?
It really makes a difference.
Just to make it more real.
Yes.
And here is the shadow.
Okay.
Which is in a different layer.
Okay.
So basically I have darkened the shadow where it needs to be darkened,
right
so that
edges.
it looks just real. And then comes the paint, so I have it in different layers.
Okay.
So here comes the bottle.
Okay. So these were different shots that you took.
Different shots composited together. Yeah. The bottle shadow and a separate shot for the drop.
Reflection. Oh, yeah, for the drop.
Yeah. And then I just duplicated the base layer, dodged it, just so that it gives
so it has the real shadow.
Just enough shadows, you see?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I haven't done any global adjustments here.
Okay.
Because I was pretty happy the way it turned out. I didn't want to tweak any colors. Sometimes it's good to know where to stop. And sometimes
that's very true.
Sometimes we end up overdoing stuff. And I used to struggle a lot with that problem earlier because there are so many things available in Photoshop. You just want to do everything in one image, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes, you have to know when it's done and when to step away.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with this particular result, so I didn't do too much color work or like any more complex stuff to it. Just left it the way it was.
Yeah. Well, I love that it's like all grayscale and then the blue just like pops so much against that, and it's so beautiful. How many shots did it take you to get that like perfect drip of the nail polish?
I had like you can say like 20 or 30 different ones. So there was one time when the paint dripped all the way down. The paint was just one drop. So I selected a shot where it just wants to drip down.
Yeah.
So I just wanted that level of kind of, it's gonna fall down.
Yeah,
but
there's
it's
tension
still holding
there.
up.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Did you have multiple bottles of nail polish? Because like
I did.
kept emptying?
I did. I mean, I did 3 images like these.
Yeah.
And for one image, I had like 10 or 12 bottles. Some cheap nail paint. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really beautiful.
I also spent a lot of time searching for the bottles because most of the bottles are round and oval in shape. So basically, I was using geometrical shapes.
And you wanted
I wanted
bottles.
like geometric bottles, like a circle or a square or a rectangle, because rectangle is easier to define. The shapes can be easily defined.
Yeah.
So I try to make it easier for myself before I shoot, and hopefully it turns out well.
So many things to think about. Like so many different aspects. Well, thank you for showing us that.
Most welcome. Most welcome.
Behind your impossible work.
I would have loved to show you guys. I mean, literally do stuff, but then
it takes so long.
It takes a lot of time to get. I mean, the renders especially take a lot of time to render because you're rendering in high resolution.
Yeah.
So basically, you're sitting there for 1 hour just to get the shadow plate, and then you mess it up. You do it again. You mess it up. You do it again. So, yeah, it takes a while.
Well, thank you for showing us. Pratik is going to be back tomorrow at 9:30 Pacific time to show us some more of his work and some original work that he made just for the stream, and talking about getting your work out there and promoting yourself. So make sure you tune in tomorrow and stay tuned because Peter is up next with an XD Daily Creative Challenge. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, guys.